Like, I almost feel bad for him. I really don't give a fuck if it bothers Rachel. Maybe do like some sort of spin-off where it's like the Vanderpump Moms. It makes sense that she got canceled. I will come across this table right now and slap you across the face. You're a shitty ass person, bro. Like,
can pull me from the dark.
Hi everyone, today I want to talk about Vanderpump Rules episode 8. So this week we have James being James. It's very much interesting seeing things from his side, knowing what happens in the future, knowing Rachel being Rachel and who she really is. I kind of see James in like a different light. Like, I almost feel bad for him. He has a scene with his dad where they're talking about how his dad never really liked Rachel and how he knew that he wasn't going to ever marry her. It's also interesting when they're talking about James drinking again, and he says it in the episode as well. He's like, you know, binge drinking is a rite of passage, and I would have never believed that you would be able to DJ without drinking. Like, that's just unheard of. And so he's a little bit more encouraging when it comes to the topic of James drinking again, which I think might not be for the best, but I mean, James is a big boy. He needs to figure it out. But also, I think that's going to be a big role in James and Allie's relationship, because it seems like they didn't really know each other prior to meeting, and they kind of just jumped into this relationship, and Allie's going to see, you know, who he really is. And fast forward towards the end of the episode, she starts questioning like her relationship based on James' behavior while he's drinking. So, you know, alcoholism it's a disease. It's a very heavy topic. And it causes big issues for those who are not able to control it. And James, in my opinion, very much falls into that category. And I feel for him, but at the same time, he is a big boy and he needs to make the right decisions. But all that being said, when you see how he gets annoyed that Schwartz and Raquel and Rachel are flirting in front of him at Lisa's house, and he's just like, come on, bro, like, you really gonna do that? The scenes of Rachel and Schwartz like flirting and stuff like that, like, I can't really like buy into it at all now, because we know what the truth is. You know, we know at this point she's already fucking Sandoval. So does she really believe herself? Does Schwartz believe it? Are they both in on it? Like, it's just, it seems disingenuous, that whole like, oh, you know, my LVP tattoo that he has on his ass, and he's like, oh, I'll show you in Mexico. I mean, it's just cringy, and I feel for James. It's funny that like, they're on the lawn chairs or whatever, like little lounge chairs, and they're flirting, and he like kind of interrupts to ask Schwartz like, hey, you know, if I do this in ping pong, what's the rule or whatever. Like, he's like finding any kind of excuse to like, you know, get them to not be in their flirtation, and he reminds me of a little boy, and it's pretty funny. Another part when the girls invite Allie for dinner, and they show their interviews where they're like, yeah, you know, it's Ariana. She's like, yeah, you know, I really like Allie and I want to hang out with her, but I definitely checked with Rachel to make sure that she was okay with it. And then Scheana, oh yeah, you know, I like Allie and I really want to get to know her, but I also let Rachel know that we're hanging out with her. And then it goes to Lala, and she's like, I really don't give a fuck if it bothers Rachel that we're hanging out with Allie. And like, that's why I like Lala, because she's so real, and she's so like, she doesn't give a fuck. And I mean, at that point, you know, she talks about how she's never liked Rachel, and so it's funny seeing her being the total opposite of these other two. And fast forward to now, how stupid they must feel, Ariana and Scheana, for having this girl's back so hard and her doing what she did to them. It brings me to, I heard like Lala's podcast, and then I heard Sheena's podcast this week, and they talk about not only the reunion, but also about, well, no, it's more so about the reunion. I think they were both filmed before this week's episode that came out. On Wednesday, that was Scheana and Rachel's court date for the restraining order. And basically it was a PR stunt. Rachel never showed up. She like served her some bogus paperwork at the reunion, and then she puts out a public statement saying that she's not going to follow through with the restraining order. Like she's going to dismiss it, or she's going to cancel it or something like that. And basically at that point, like you can't cancel or just like, you know, say never mind to these things. Like they have to be seen through. And by her not showing up on the day of the hearing, the judge was then able to dismiss the case, completely. And so Scheana is good. She's off the hook. And because of it being dismissed, now she's able to speak about it. And so she, I really felt for her this week. She basically explains how betrayed she feels, how stupid she feels. And that was my question that I asked last week. Like, I wonder, them watching these episodes back, how did they feel? Like, did they feel so embarrassed? Because this girl really made a fool of them. Like, she specifically says, she's like, I was a ride or die. Like, I basically was like another mother to her. She felt, always felt for her the way Rachel was raised. They talk about how Rachel's mom isn't really her mom, it's her aunt. For whatever reason, her biological mom didn't raise her, didn't want to raise her, let her aunt raise her. And so even though she knows who her real mom is, there's a therapist that, brought up the fact that that would still cause some attachment issues and obvious trauma as a child. And so she's not trying to excuse Rachel's behavior, but basically that could cause her to act out in these adult years of hers. And so that's what Scheana was saying. She's like, I always felt for her, and I just really took her under my wing after her leaving James and having a difficult relationship with him. She just really wanted her to grow into herself and become her own person and a confident woman, and she did everything to support that. She let her live in her house when Rachel had nowhere else to go after her and James broke up. She had to tell her to go buy toilet paper to make sure that the toilet paper was stocked before her and her family would come to stay at the apartment. All of these things, it's Rachel's really clueless. So the fact that Scheana let her stay at her apartment, I don't know if she even paid her rent. Scheana didn't specify, and I'm just speculating. I would think maybe not. And this girl has no shame. She talks about how she's like, I don't know Rachel. I know Raquel. I don't know Rachel, and Rachel's the real person here. And Sheena's just so shocked that she's that kind of person, that she is able to do that. She talks about how she was just so casual about what she did to Ariana. They talked about how Rachel didn't cry at all at the reunion. She was stoic. She was, in fact, smiling. Scheana said that night after Watch What Happens Live, when it came out that she is having this affair with Sandoval, same thing. She wasn't crying. It didn't seem like she was remorseful at all. And she still doesn't show that. She's just so taken back because that was someone that she really thought was a friend and that she really cared for, and literally slapped her in the face. It was a really, in particular, Sheena's podcast with Lala, Shenanigans, this week. It was a really juicy episode, and it kind of ties everything together between filming the reunion last week and this week's episode, and hearing their behind the scenes. It was pretty telling. And it just, brings me back to how Ariana and Scheana are so nice to Rachel. They are such good friends to her in these episodes, and it's just it's gross to know what she's doing already at that point in time, and them not having a clue. And her, she was everyone's favorite. Lala keeps saying it in all her different interviews. If what they didn't happen, Rachel would have won the season. Everybody would have been rooting for her, good for you, you're just trying to find yourself. People would have been on her side if it weren't for the fact that she was actually being really a terrible person behind closed doors. It was annoying when they were at Schwartz and Sandy's, and again, Schwartz and Rachel were flirting, and they go into the bathroom and he's showing her the display or whatever, and it bothers me that Scheana and Brock are just
ooh, get it, Rachel.
Telling Schwartz oh yeah, you guard that bathroom for her. It's annoying because again, it's not believable anymore, and obviously Scheana didn't know, but it's just why are you trying to push these two people together? It's bothersome. I did like that moment between Scheana and Lala and Brock when they meet up for lunch, and Brock brings up to Lala oh, my kid's mom reached out to me the other day, and he was just very happy about it and thanking her for basically being a good friend and kind of calling him out, and how they had that rocky start, but that it was actually a good thing. And Lala apologizes because she says that wasn't my place, and obviously after everything that happened to me, that wasn't my place to call you out on anything. And it just shows like how far they've come. And that's what Scheana says, like, you know, in their friendship, that they're all just very close. And I can see it. You know, I follow all of them on social media. I listen to their podcasts. I watch Scheana's vlogs. Like, they are all very close. And it is a cool dynamic that they have, especially considering that Lala doesn't have that husband or father figure for Ocean, and that Brock's able to step up in that way for Ocean and fill that void. Like, I can really appreciate that as a single mother myself. I can definitely put myself in Lala's shoes and see how much she appreciates that and how far that goes. And I love seeing that relationship just solidify and them stay close, because it's more than just Scheana and Lala now. It's, you know, about Ocean and Summer Moon. So that was like a really like wholesome moment in the episode, and I hope that they kind of show more of that in the season. And even Scheana said it herself on the podcast that she was glad that at least that made it in, because it is a big part. I mean, Lala just bought a house right next to Scheana in Palm Springs, like literally the house right next door. So that's saying a lot. Good for them. They're really good moms, and I love watching their little girls grow together and grow up, and it's adorable. As a mom, like, I love that little part of Vanderpump Rules. It leads me to like really hoping that they would maybe do like some sort of spin-off where it's like the Vanderpump moms, and even like bring Stassi back, because she's, you know, about to have her second baby. Not about to, but she just announced her second pregnancy. So I think that would be super cute, following Lala and Scheana and Stassi and Brittany with Cruz, and then Christina Kelly just had her baby. Like, I think that's the best kind of show. It's very like, obviously they're not kids anymore. They're not servers at SUR. That would be the next best thing. And then like Katie and Ariana opening up their sandwich shop, like center around the Vanderpump girls. That would be, if anyone hears that, make sure you give me my cut, because I think that's brilliant. So then they get to Mexico, and it was pretty funny when Lala and Katie and Christina Kelly are figuring out like what rooms they're in, and they realize they're like at opposite ends of the hotel, basically. Like, they are not close. They're like, oh, like that sucks. Like, I'm so bummed. And then they cut to Sheena's interview, and she's like, yeah, I called to have her move to the other tower, and I took her off the preferred guest list because out of sight, out of mind. Like, I don't want her anywhere near me. I would have done the same thing. Considering how things are between them at that point in time, it's like, yeah, like, I don't want Katie. If I don't need to see her, I don't want to see her. Even though I have Katie's back in that whole argument. Like, I would very much have kept the room and still gone to Mexico and had my own vacation and invited my friend. Like, I think it was not cool that Lala brought Christina Kelly to that welcome dinner. I'm pretty sure Lala knows how Scheana feels about Christina Kelly, considering like how she made fun of her wedding dress. And then I totally forgot that Stassi made that comment about a trashy quinceañera. That's not cool. It makes sense that she got canceled for some of the things she said, because it's like in 2023, like, you can't say those things, and that's why a lot of people were not Team Stassi for a very long time. It was also funny when Ariana had to like not get in James' face, but like raise her voice for him to like knock his shit off. It's like, calm down. He's so hyped up sometimes. Like, he's so intense, and I totally would have done the same thing. Like, shut the fuck up. You're not listening to me. I'm just telling you that I don't think that a fight is a good idea. And, leave me alone. Like, you're in the wrong, not me. And everyone's telling him, like, you need to calm down. Like, even Lala, she's like, I will come across this table right now and slap you across the face, because don't talk to me that way. He's just, again, he's intense. And at that point, Allie walks away because she's like embarrassed, and she says it herself. She's like, I'm questioning everything right now. Like, who am I in Mexico with? Do I even really know, like, the real James? Like, is this the real James? Because if it is, like, what am I doing here? And I feel for her, because when you're with an alcoholic, it's very much two different sides that you see of the same person. You see the sweet, the sober, the sweet, the level-headed, the person that you fell in love with and that you love. And then you see this ugly, like, side that is just not not who you want to be with, and it's constant conflict. So I feel for her. I'm interested to see how the season plays out. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still together. It's just gonna be tough for Ellie. I think for a little bit they're really discovering who she's really with. And then Rachel's, you know, all happy because she's like,
when I see Ellie like cringing at James' behavior, it just makes me so happy that it's not me.
she's just like, ugh, I can't stand her. I can't. It as the season progresses and more episodes happen, it's just like, you're a shitty ass person, bro. It's also kind of sad when Ariana's talking about how she's getting Sandoval all to herself during the Mexico stay, and she's looking forward to them just getting quality time together, and he's kissing her, whatever, and it's just like, again, feels so fake knowing what he's doing. Because apparently, as they're getting ready for the wedding, Rachel was missing for 3 hours at one point, and no one, like, she turns off her location, and no one knows where she went. It's like, gee, I wonder where she was for 3 hours. Did anyone have eyes on Sandoval at that time? Can we corroborate? Can we like put two and two together and try to figure it out? Because I would guess that was where she was at. All in all, it was a good episode. It was a little bit of like a lull. I'm excited for next week to see what's going to go down. More so, I'm liking getting all the behind the scenes, listening to everyone's podcasts and their breakdowns of what's going on. It just, like I said earlier, it ties the whole season together nicely. Based on the mid-season trailer, we got a lot to go. So yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. My name is Christine, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Can pull me from the dark.